Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Wednesday morning. Got some football for you, got some basketball for you. The Aggies introduced a new basketball coach, Ben Jacobson. We'll hear his press conference coming up later this hour. But we're going to start with football because spring ball is underway at Utah and BYU. Morgan Scalley, Utah football coach, meeting with the media. Here he is right here on the Zone.
Morgan, week 3, where are we at right now? How are you feeling?
We're here at the Eccles Field House. I'm excited with the progress, brother. I'm excited with the progress. You're seeing the offensive line continue to make strides. Defense, I think offense maybe got a little bit better the defense in some of the scrimmage work we did on Saturday. It was good to see the defense bounce back. As long as it's back and forth and not one side is dominating the other, that's kind of what you're wanting to see is competitive football. And the culture continues to be a strong emphasis. But it was good to see Hunter Andrews back out there today and some of these guys getting more reps. So I'm pleased with the progress. 7 down, 8 to go. And it's, some situational work, some 2-minute, some 4-minute, some of that stuff that we're introducing to the guys. Feel very good about the progress made.
What sort of impact is Ryan Gunderson having on that quarterback spot?
He's a good one, man. And I've gone against him. So, when we were in the Rose Bowl playing UCLA and DTR was up and down the field on us, and that was, Ryan was a big part of that. So, brings a ton of experience, but he's also a pretty good calming influence for those guys when, stuff's hitting the fan. So he's a very good teacher, and you can ask those quarterbacks, how they feel about him.
You talk about Hunter Andrews being back with the tight ends. You also have your 2 rhinos in Semi and Sione. Just what do they add to this, tight end room and this offense as a whole? Nastiness,
mean, aggressive football, and they're athletic. Just when you think they're just going to pound your face in, they slip out on a slide route, and they've got good hands. You guys watch these guys in individual drill, you're like, okay, don't want to do a one-on-one tackle drill with those guys. I had to do my one-on-one tackle drills versus Ben Moe. I remember that versus Ben. I do not want to do that versus Semi and Sione. Those guys they just add that element of, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball and stop us.
How would you assess where your D-line's at right now?
Really am looking at Carson Kafusi as a guy that needs to make that jump from that freshman to sophomore. The good thing is that, leadership-wise, he's a pleasant surprise. He's a guy that we didn't necessarily expect to become that guy that has become that guy. The way he works, the way he call guys out. Jair Moa is exactly what we wanted. And he is, he provides a little bit of athleticism and twitch and the ability to slant and do some things with him. Poo-Poo, another guy, freshman to sophomore year, really needs to make that jump. That's where we're going to make our money this year. Offensive, defensive line, how we develop those guys and get them ready for the season. And I would say, Luther and Jordan do a really good job thus far. With the defensive ends, that'll be a solid group. But that's, the offensive line, defensive line, they bring the weather. How they go, we go.
How is the offensive line kind of meshing and some of those newcomers who's standing out there?
Well, all of them are making progress. You had Obot go down early just with a little bit of an ankle deal, but he's only missed one practice. He was back today. He's every bit of that, that we saw in, his recruiting film. Sed's coming along. He's doing a really good job. I mean, Jordan is such a good teacher with those guys, and they're having a lot of fun. You're seeing progress at every single position. So I would say the center position is one that we really got to, we need to be more consistent with the snaps. That affects the entire efficiency of an offense if that ball is high, if it's off target. So, between Alex and Isaiah, we got to get that figured out.
Where does Elijah Ellis fit into the linebacker group right now?
He's a guy that is athletic enough to rush the edge. You saw the play he made. Were you guys there for that play that he made on the screenplay?
I think so.
Okay. Do you know what a screenplay is? I just want to make sure that you know that. Okay. Anyway, really athletic. Where he made his biggest jump was in the offseason. His strength, really, really strong. So he's a guy that we could put on the edge, much like his brother Jonah. But man, is he quick from sideline to sideline. A lot of depth of that linebacker room, which allows us to rotate, play with 3 linebacker sets and spread it. So the versatility there is what is pleasing with Tui.
Wishon's obviously RB1, but how's the rest of that room shaking out?
You're seeing LaMarcus make a ton of progress. Both he and Chavez Soto need to spend every day catching the ball because they can run, they run hard. It's just, you have to have the ability to split out and be versatile so that teams can't just key in on, okay, when he's in the game, he's pass protecting or running, So it's those backs becoming more complete backs. Love what I saw out of Way today. Physicality, leadership. When things aren't going right, he's the guy that you can hand the ball to, and he's going to give you everything he's got. And then Bray, the biggest positive so far is him. What he's doing, he's built his body up, buying into the culture. He had a play in the scrimmage on Saturday where Scholes, you see Scholes going for a touchdown on that deep ball, and he sprints and gets out in front and blocks. That's what you want to see. It's team football, it's understanding, it's all our job to advance the ball. So that was fun to see. But Bray, I love his progress.
There's Utah football coach Morgan Scalley. When we come back, we'll hear from BYU offense coordinator Aaron Roderick as he meets with the media. Stay with us.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and 0 weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It is time to go to BYU football camp. Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator, meeting with the media.
What do you feel is the strength of your offense with 1 week remaining in spring ball?
I think we just have I think we have balance. I think we're going to be a balanced team. We can run it, we can throw it, and we have good size, and we're going to be physical.
Do you feel confident with what you've seen so far from the running backs, not named L.J. Martin, that give you confidence in that depth there?
Yeah, Sione Moa is a really good football player. He's one of our best players last year till he got hurt, and the year before. And Devon Aka's doing a good job. Preston Rex has improved a lot. So yeah, we're going to be really very solid at running back.
In your eyes, what are the biggest benefits of spring ball for your offense?
Just development, just seeing guys grow a little bit each day. We're just trying to just take each practice one rep at a time and try to get a little bit better every day. And each individual player, it's fun to see guys grow and improve and make a mistake and then learn from it and then not repeat that mistake and get it right the next time. That's what spring ball is all about.
As far as the quarterbacks behind Bear, what have you seen as far as their progress goes?
Doing good things. Trayson's a veteran player. He knows our offense very well. Has a lot of respect from his teammates. He's playing good football. Lots of confidence in him. And then Enoch Watson is learning what to do, but super talented. He's a very high ceiling guy, super athlete, live arm. He's just in the process of learning the offense each day. He's right on schedule to be a really good football player.
Does that mean Trayson's the number 2 since he knows the offense and is the key piece in the locker room?
He's been taking most of the reps with the 2s. Enoch's had some as well, and we're just we're letting that play out until we get to the season. But right now, Trayson's just got the advantage of having been here, and Trayson's doing a good job.
What's your confidence level in those 2 guys if, heaven forbid, Bear should not?
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in both of them. Again, Enoch has a lot to learn, but his upside is very high. And in Trayson's case, I think Trayson's an underrated athlete, and he knows our offense very well. And when he goes in, we don't skip a beat. We can operate at a high level with Trayson right now.
Obviously, you're on the offensive side of the ball, but who on the defense has challenged your offense the most in spring ball?
Oh man, there's a lot of good players over there. Kedu Luave shows up every day. I mean, there's a lot of good players in our defense. They're flying around, and I don't. I think they're going to be just as good or better than they were last year.
We were just talking with Kelly, and he noted the player leadership. Can you speak to maybe the leaders that have emerged on the offensive side?
Yeah, that's one thing we definitely have. We have a lot of guys that have played a lot of football here, so you've got great leadership from Bruce Mitchell and LJ and JoJo Phillips has played a lot of ball, and Bear is a really good leader. And I'll probably forget somebody I should say, but then I'm impressed with these transfer guys too. They're coming from, when you get guys that come from Oregon and USC, they've been in good programs, they've played a lot of football, they know what practice is supposed to be like, they know what meetings are supposed to be like, and so you have Roger and Walker and Kyler. Those guys they're already leaders in our program. They lead by example every day. They're learning what to do. They're learning our offense each day, but lots of good leaders on this team. Gentry, there's a bunch of them.
Aaron, speaking about Bruce Mitchell, in terms of what his story, defensive line and offensive line, and now being essentially a team captain, what's he improved the most at this spring in particular?
Bruce, I think what he's improved most at is just understanding defenses better and just anticipating, getting us. Our center gets us going the right direction most of the time. He's making a lot of calls, directing traffic, and I think he's played a lot of football now, and this spring he's sort of taken that next step now where always getting us in the right calls. He's always been a good athlete. He snaps the ball well, and now we're taking that next step.
Do you feel like the offense going into PRPs and whatnot is ahead of schedule maybe as opposed to last year with Bear having gone through spring?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I don't want to act like we've arrived or anything, but I do feel confident about where we are right now and where we're going. And having, Bear got here so late last year, having him from January 1 through the spring, he's such a good leader, and he knows our offense so well. He's really smart, and so I'd say just in that, having his experience is huge.
The left tackle position replacing Isaiah Jada, what are you seeing develop there?
Paki Finau is playing with the first team right now, and he's, we tried to recruit him in high school. We loved him in high school. We feel really great about having him now. He's doing a nice job, and Siwa's out there doing a good job too. But Pocky's been taking most of the reps of the ones and has played very well.
Ever since Bear arrived, you've been impressed with his ability to learn the playbook quite a bit. How can you maybe give us context of how much it's expanded now heading into year 2 for him, the playbook?
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. I mean, he's as smart of a kid as I've ever known, period, in life. I mean, he's very sharp. So yeah, our ability to give him 2 or 3 options every play and get us in the right play based on what the defense is doing is pretty fun. And it's, I guess sometimes it might be we hand the ball off and make 3 yards and nobody in the stands thinks it was anything special, but he just got us out of a really bad play and we made 3 yards. Sometimes it's just something like that. Sometimes it's getting us into a play that's a huge play, where he sees what the defense is doing, gets us to a different play, and we have an explosive play. So it's fun. He's a fun guy to coach.
You've been around great quarterbacks with guys like Zach and Jaron. Does he kind of exude some qualities like those guys when they were young? Just the skill set of being able to take in so much info and putting it on the film.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reluctant to compare the quarterbacks we've had here to each other, but I always say, though, that all of them have more in common than they do differences. I mean, whether it's Zach, whether it's Jaron, Jake, Bear, all these guys are quick release guys that get the ball in their hands fast. They're good decision makers and they're good athletes, and that's consistent with all those guys. Now, each one of them is different and has a few other things that differentiate them, but that's what we look for, is athletic guys that have a fast release and are good decision makers.
Does he have another level to go to in terms of his arm talent, in your opinion?
Yeah. Bear's a really good passer. I mean, we brought him along slowly last year because he just got here so late and he was a freshman, and also we have LJ Martin in the backfield, so why wouldn't you just give him the ball 25 times a game, But Bear can throw the ball. If you guys saw in the bowl game, you saw in the Iowa State game last year, we won some games last year with him throwing the football, and that'll happen again this year too.
What's been the biggest challenge?
Last couple questions.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now that you've gone through almost all of spring with this receiving group, are you still confident that you have the right guys on the field that can keep up the offense as it was last year?
Yeah, been happy with their development. JoJo Phillips has taken a big step forward. That injury he had last year was pretty serious. We don't talk a lot about the details and stuff, but that was a tough injury, and it hurt his confidence, and it took him some time to get back. And then the bowl game, it was like, okay, that's JoJo that we've been expecting, and I've seen more growth in him this spring. Kyler Casper's had a great spring. He's everything I thought he was going to be up to this point, and he'll be a big part of our offense. And I see Tay Nakua growing every day. I see Reggie Frischnecht out there improving. I'm going to forget somebody there, but there's enough guys there for sure. And then when you factor in that we have some tight ends that are good receivers, we'll have enough weapons.
A lot of talk in college football about just the calendar. Do you still see value in spring ball, or would you like to see maybe this type of off-season practicing maybe shift to later in the calendar? Do you feel like this is still a valuable time of the calendar to get the most out of these practices?
Personally, I like going early. If you get somebody banged up or whatever, you have more time for them to get back and get healthy. We don't really have a choice because our academic calendar kind of makes us go early, so I've just learned to deal with it. But I've also learned that this college football is ever changing, and it's adapt or die, man. So if the rules change and whatever, then we'll adapt. But I do like going early.
There's BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. Before that, Morgan Scalley. Coming up next, we'll switch gears and go to Utah State, where the Aggies introduced a new basketball coach from Northern Iowa, Ben Jacobson. He's next. Stay with us.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, Ben Jacobson, longtime fixture at Northern Iowa, 25 years, 5 as an assistant, 20 as head coach. Quarter of a century invested in that program, but he is now moving on. He is the Aggies' new coach. They had a press conference to introduce him, a little Q&A afterwards. Here are the Aggies with their new head coach, Ben Jacobson.
This is special, and Cam mentioned it a couple times, and I'll get to it in my remarks. But it's special because of you guys sitting right there in row 2. Okay? This is why we do it. Okay, this is why I do it for you guys that are sitting right there. I appreciate you being here this morning, but just understand this is about you guys. Okay, I'm going to start with some thank yous if that's okay. President Mortensen and Camille, thank you. Thank you for taking time the half hour to come down and see me. That meant a lot to me, right? And in the process and in making this decision that you would take time to do that. So thank you. Cam and your staff, Ike, Emily, and Carter, you guys have been great. You can feel the energy and the camaraderie and wanted to make sure I was able to be a part of that. And I think that most of you understand this, and I'm getting to Cam. This guy's got a plan, doesn't he? And he's not afraid to share it. He's not afraid to talk about his vision and all of the places that we can go. And I appreciate that about you, Cam. And I can't wait to start knocking those off. Okay, really appreciate your trust in me. Our football coach and Holly came down to dinner the other night. That meant a lot to Don and I to get a chance to do that. Look forward to building that relationship. Thanks, Coach, for being there. My wife, Dawn, is here this morning, and we've got 2 boys. Hunter's 22 years old. Tanner's 20 years old. Hunter was on our team for 4 years and just finishing up his career. He's going to student teach and then be a GA. And I tried to get him out here, but he's pretty tied to that Cedar Falls community. And then Tanner's over at the University of Nebraska, going to business school over there. And their support, some of the conversations that we have had over the last 5 or 6 days have just been tremendous. Obviously, their support means a lot to me, but really proud of those 2 guys and so grateful and thankful, Don, for what we're doing. Yep, thanks. My mom and dad, I've got 3 brothers and a sister. Mom and Dad, they've been great. I'm gonna tell you, it's been like one of the wildest rides. Hey, I'm 55 years old, and 2 brothers are close to me, and one's about 10 years younger, and then our sister's the youngest. And growing up in our house, it's okay to dream big. And if you wanted something bad enough, you just gotta work for it a little bit, and you can get it. And then just treat people good. Be good to people, right? And treat people well. So those things were with us the entire time, and they've stayed with me in my coaching. And then 2 guys that have meant the most to me in basketball is my head coach, Rich Glass, at the University of North Dakota, and Greg McDermott was my assistant coach at that time, and most recently, Coach Mack was at Creighton. And I think as basketball people, we all understand what's happened at Creighton and everything that they have done. And those 2 have meant a lot to me. They taught me that this isn't about offense and defense. This is about relationships, right? And building those and having them be in a place where you're able to accomplish special things. So I really appreciate about those 2 guys. And then the University of Northern Iowa, right? When, as the president mentioned, being at a place for a long time. When you stay somewhere for a long time, that of course would indicate that it's a special place. Right? They awfully good to Don and I and our family, but just a really special place. I want to thank them today. So why after 20 years, 25 years, what is it? What are we so excited about? And why am I standing here right now? It's, I said it, but it's row 2, okay? To be able to take on this challenge with you guys and the way in which you've done it already. Okay? So we were the next game, right? After your game with Villanova. And we were standing right there when you guys came off that floor. And the excitement. And, of course, after you win an NCAA tournament game, right, there's going to be a little bit of excitement. You're going to be bouncing around a little bit, but you could feel the camaraderie, right, and feel the excitement. And I wanted to be part of that. Cam laid out, and we know it, the tremendous success that we have had here. And you can look at the numbers, and you can read them, and you can see all of the different things. And wanting to be a part of that, very exciting as well. And what a place to do it, right? Our gymnasium, what a place to do it. I'm going to make sure I get it right, 117 and 21 over the last 9 seasons in our gymnasium. So what a place to be able to do it. And I know a lot of that has to do with the herd. I've watched a lot. I've been told a lot. So it's okay if you guys want to hoot and holler for just a second. Like, I would love to hear a little bit of the herd right now. And I'm excited about doing more, right? About the challenge ahead of us with the Pac-12, right? And challenging the herd to, not right now, but when we get back in there, being louder and doing more. And I'll challenge the guys when I get to that point. And one of those, and I said it we had a brief Zoom call. One of those things I talked about was, okay, that first weekend in the NCAA tournament, that's special, right? But there's a next weekend, right? And there's a next weekend after that. And what does that feel like, right? The excitement of that, with the new league and with our leadership and with this group. What does that next weekend look like and feel like, right? Fortunate to have been there as a head coach, right? And want to do that together. There's a ton of excitement in that. I get most excited about people, right? All of you in this room, everything you've done for Utah State, continue to do. Our president, Cam, the guys in the team, that's what I get most excited about. I just touched on it in terms of what I'm looking forward to. I've said this a lot. You're going to hear me say it again. I absolutely love coaching. I love coaching. The only thing I love more is being part of a team. I don't know a time for me when I have not been part of a team, right? And that responsibility that comes with it, counting on the guy or gal next to you, right? And knowing that you're being counted on, right? Man, I love doing this, right? And I'm as excited and ready as I've ever been. Probably the most ready that I have been in my head coaching career. But I love being a part of a team. There is nothing more special than being part of a team. And I look forward to doing that with everybody. Partnering with the community in the Cache Valley, supporting our other teams, being on campus, getting with everybody and being there for each other as head coaches. That's something I'm really looking forward to. And then the vision laid out by Cam, right? I don't know that that I make this move at this time, if not for the vision that Cam had, right? The things that we are talking about doing, right? And then knowing, really important for me to know his plan, right? And that we can get that done. And obviously the Pac-12, fellas, let's go get it, huh? There's a lot of excitement. I'm really looking forward to what's ahead for us in the new Pac-12, okay, and what that means and what that challenge is going to be like. Okay, let's go get that thing. And I'll wrap it up with you guys, okay? And I mentioned this briefly again on that Zoom call. This is your program, okay? This is your program. The programs only thrive with leadership by the players, okay? Player-led programs. This is your program, right? I'm here to help you. Okay? This is your program. We're going to build relationships that extend far beyond hoops, right? Far beyond hoops. The things that you talked about, family, trust, real conversations, okay, that's coming, right, fellas? Far beyond hoops. Basketball, fast and physical, right? And we're going to play, and this is the part, right? Everybody stands up here and says we're going to play 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? As a head coach, fast and physical. Right? We've been doing it for a long time, right? Defensively, we're gonna get in your way, and we're gonna fight you. Right? The individual battles, and defensive rebounding. We've been in the top 20 in the country. Defensive rebounding percentage for most of the last 10 years. That piece of it's really important to us. It's really important to me. So we're going to fight you on that end. Right? But when we secure that rebound, man, it's all about the energy of the basketball. Right? Hey, we got to go. Right? And we've got to get that basketball moving, and we've got to get into the front court, and we've got to play. And I really look forward to that part with you guys. I can't wait to get to this afternoon. I've had this suit on 3 times in the last 6 days, okay, in this same tie. And I'm glad it worked, right? We're here together, right? but I haven't had it on that many times in the last 6 years. So, I cannot wait to get to this afternoon. And the reason being that we get together. Okay, guys? We get together and sit down and start going on this thing. And I cannot wait to get to this afternoon. And, our everything that I've learned, fellas, our student body, right? The herd, our president, Cam. I'm going to tell you something. When people show this level of trust in me, right? When they show this level of belief in us as a team, right? We got a job to do, right? So for our fans, our student body, the herd, our community, they've earned it. Everyone in this room has poured a lot into this, right? They've earned it, right? And next weekend, right? What's that look like? The next weekend, what's that one look like? Then there's one more, right? We're going to knock that door down, fellas, right? We're going to knock that door down, right? Everybody in here has done a lot for us, and we're going to make sure that we pay that back. Guys, we got one goal, right? Each year when we get started, we have one goal, and that's to have as much fun as we possibly can together. That's the one goal that we have. And I've got one expectation for you, okay? That you give everything you've got for the person next to you. Right? And not just on the team, but with the staff, in the program, in the room, that we give everything we've got for the person next to us. That's the only goal we've got. It's the only expectation I've got for you. The other things take care of themselves, okay? Whether it's in the Pac-12, home or away, right? When we talk about the tournament, the next weekend and the next, those things take care of themselves. We're going to have as much fun as we possibly can together, right? And we're going to give everything we got to the person next to us. And as we go through that, and I'll leave you with this, okay? This is the best time, right? It was a little bit ago for me, right? But I remember it. It is the best time for you as young people to have teammates and have this kind of support, right? The very best time. But when it's done, hey, whether it's 1 year or 2 or 3, when it is done, man, you got 40 years, okay? We need to set you up, right? Do everything we can to set you up. For the year after, yes. But the 40 years, okay? Right? That's what I'm here for, right? I'm going to leave it there, right? The sooner I do, the sooner I get to these guys, the sooner I can get out of this suit and tie. I'm going to leave it there. It is great of you to be here today, right? And I cannot tell you how excited I am and proud I am to be part of Aggie Nation, right? And look forward to this journey we're about to get on, okay? Thanks again, fellas, for being here this morning. Look forward to seeing you this afternoon, okay? Go Aggies.
Coach Jacobson, this is Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily.
Morning, Jason.
Wanted to ask you about something where yesterday you were in another press conference, and it was at Northern Iowa, and not a lot of coaches have given exit press conferences. A lot of them kind of slink away and go to their next job, really at anywhere, but even Utah State. Just what kind of led you to standing in front of a media and saying, all right, I'm saying goodbye now?
Yeah, 25 years is the reason. The relationships, right, with the people at Northern Iowa. Right? There's presidents and ADs and faculty and people on campus and people in the building that I've been with for a long, long time. Right? Those relationships, one, and then the most important part of it was the players. It's some of the things I just touched on. It's what I've been doing for 20 years as a head coach. Right? And there's twists and turns in this thing, and when the twists and turns go your way, it's easy. It's easy to stand up there, right, and talk about things, right? And it's fun, right? And human nature really leads you down that part of it, because you're excited about being able to talk about the successes and how well it's going. When it twists and turns the other way, right, and it isn't going to be as much fun, I talk with our guys about that. You do the best you can, right? And you've got to be willing to take those twists and turns as well. And so I certainly owed it to our players, right? And had some very, very meaningful and powerful conversations with our players at Northern Iowa yesterday. So I wanted to lead from the front a little bit, if you will, and continue to help our players grow and help them understand that you're going to be there, right? And you're going to show up when you're needed.
Coach, Brian Priest with KSLSports.com.
Morning, Brian.
You've talked a lot about just the vision here at Utah State and what Mr. Walker presented to you during the interview process and everything. What do you see as the a 5-year, 10-year plan here at Utah State with the basketball program?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Maybe a couple things I would touch on is being part of the new Pac-12, helping to elevate it. Right? Where can we take it to as a league? Right? We're going to enter at a certain place, but where can we take it to as a league? Right? That being one piece of it. The competitive spirit, right? The competitive part of me. You go into that league with the teams, from the Mountain West, and Gonzaga joins the league, and the others with Washington State and Oregon State and Texas State, fighting for the top of that thing, right? Is what we talked about, right? And something that as we have seen here, right? We've got everything in place to do that, and how far can we push it, right? And then you take it to the next step of, the seed this year. I don't know. I do know. I was going to ask you, fellas, how you felt about that 9 seed. But I do know, right? And I know on a couple of fronts. I've watched you guys play for a couple of years, so I know, right? At Northern Iowa, we also had the same thing show up, a 9 seed. I haven't seen a group not smile and clap. Okay, so I do understand. So I say that the ability now as we move forward, right, to do what we did this past year, what you guys did this past year, and have that result in a different seed. 7, 6, was that probably where we should have been this year, fellas? 6, 7, right? So the opportunity to have that happen in the new Pac-12, right? If we're doing our job, and we're going to, right? So from a competitive standpoint, I'm excited about those things, right? With everything that we have in the room, the support that we have that has been in place for such a long time, right? The alignment with our president and with Cam to be able to do those things on the competitive side. Right?
Hey, Coach, Mark Greenwood with the Utah Statesman. One thing you've done really well the last couple of years is roster retention. And as some of these guys here maybe weigh their future, the things that they're going to do, transfer portal, whatever it is. How do you kind of approach that over the coming days to continue that track record of roster retention? Yeah, the first thing will be, getting through is the wrong way to say it, but the rest of the morning and the lunch and getting to these guys, right, and having it start. Right, they should, the questions and thoughts that they have right now are the ones that they should have. Right. So we'll get started on it, and that has been our formula. That has been the way I approach things. Is we're going to sit down and start talking, right? They've heard the bits and pieces this morning, and they got a little bit of the Zoom call, and I hope and I think they can get a little bit of a feel for how I'm wired, and but the conversations really start this afternoon, right? And finding out what it is that they want. And what it is that I can do to help them. Right? That's where it'll start. And then working hard at the relationships. And it's a short window, but it's 4 years, with the transfer portal and the name, image, and likeness. So we feel like we've got a good plan in place. It is one that has been very productive for us. But that hasn't. There's other things that I've had to do, but there's only been one thing on my mind, and it's these guys right here. That's the only thing that's been on my mind, and so we'll get started and get after those relationships. It has been and will continue to be the most important thing with our basketball program is these players feeling great about continuing to be at Utah State. It's the most important thing to me, and I've got my staff here, and you could ask any one of them. Right? The most important thing to me is that they feel great about continuing to be here. So we'll get that started this afternoon.
Hey, Coach. Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan.
Yeah, good morning,
Eric. You had a stretch at Northern Iowa about 10 to 15 years ago where you were regularly in the NCAA tournament or regularly in the postseason and then kind of went away from that. Yeah. Now you've recently started to get back into that form. Maybe walk us through just what it took to get there and the challenges of maintaining that success, having it go away from you, but then getting a team back into that field again.
Yeah, it's what I love about what we're talking about today. Sustaining consistency is the hardest part of greatness, and to know about, but also read about and like look at the numbers of what has been accomplished here. Man, that's a challenge when you get there, right? To do it again and do it again and do it again. It's a challenge, right? but one that I've always been excited about. And we've been very fortunate to have a number of different groups. Right? I was an assistant in 4, 5, and 6, and in the tournament, and 9 and 10 as a head coach, and 15 and 16 as a head coach. We won our regular season title in 20 and 22, and right on the edge of an at-large bid in 20 with COVID. And now these past 2 years, and they've all been different groups of guys. So we've been something that we've been really, really proud of. I think our approach has allowed us to continue to do that, right? To be able to come back again and again in terms of who we recruit and why we recruit them. The consistency of our approach in recruiting, our consistency on the day-to-day, right? The guys who know it's simple. It isn't complicated for us. Showing up on time is important, and and working at it. When we're together, working at it when we're not together. So you're building your confidence and the belief in what we're doing. Our formula isn't complicated, but we're very consistent with us, and I believe that's why we've been able to come back, again and again over the course of time.
Hey, Coach, it's Carson Frost with the Herald-Journal. You mentioned you've been watching this team the past couple of years. Just what are some things about the style and like the product on the floor that excites you the most, and how are you going to install that in the system you run here?
Yeah, there's enough similarities that excites me, Carson. In terms of the way we've approached things on the offensive side. Defensively, there's some differences there, but in terms of getting in their way and being physical and rebounding, there's a lot of similarities there. The opportunity to watch you guys and watch Utah State. I think we've all heard it, and I may have said it earlier. That ball's got energy, right? That ball has got energy, and you see it when these guys are playing. Right? That's a big part of it. Right? And we talk about pace, and we talk about that ball popping around, and some of those same things. And without getting too into the X's and O's part, a lot of similarities when we get into that half court, right? With the zoom actions and and again, I'll be talking to these guys about all of that, but just a lot of similarities with watching them play, right? And the way they go about it, and how I feel about offense. So it excites me because it isn't going to be brand new for them, right? And I think that's something that we're going to be able to have good conversations about. And I'm going to, when I started and told the guys, this is your team, right? You like doing something, and it's been working for us, and we're going to keep doing it, right? It's not going to change just because I'm the head coach or I'm our head coach now. You guys have been together, and if there's things you like doing that are working for you, we're going to keep doing them, right? I can adjust, right? I've been doing this a long time, right? Seen a lot of offenses and seen a lot of defenses. I can adjust, right? And I'm excited about that part as well.
Coach, this is Jason Walker again. You mentioned earlier playing fast and physical. I know we're kind of talking about styles, but maybe I'm reading too much in the numbers, but they've talked about how your teams play a little bit slower paced, kind of deliberate.
You saw it correctly.
Yeah. Is there kind of a change in style, or is there an aspect to when you say fast and physical that isn't necessarily showing up in the numbers?
Yeah, so I'll just use this year as an example, and there's we've gotten that over the years. Part of the lower possession games and that pace comes from our defense. Our defense has been good, and some years it has been great. And when it is, it takes the other team a little longer, The hope is they aren't coming down and they're shooting it in 7 seconds because they're open. You following me? So when people talk pace and the tempo and they think just offense, right? Well, when our defense is really good, it takes them a little longer. So that by itself takes some of the possessions out of the game. And then I've always loved the other side of it. And I'll get to this year here in a second, but I've always loved the other side. We hear that a lot, with our offense, and then we'll play somebody and they'll be like, whoa. And the conversation will be similar, like, well, I see these tempo numbers, and you just went out and you're throwing it up and you're shooting a 3-5 seconds into the shot clock. Whether it's an opponent or maybe a fan. So those numbers don't tell the entire story. We're going to play in transition, right? And we're going to find that shot before the defense gets set. Now we're going to execute if we don't get the one that we like, but I trust these guys. They're going to go find one, right? And they're going to have the freedom and confidence to go do that. Right? This year specifically, our starting two guard and our backup point guard, both were hurt for most of December. And at that point, we're a little shorthanded. And our best opportunity we had, the Wichita State at home and Tulsa in a tournament, and we're going to St. Mary's. Our best opportunity to be successful in those games was to be deliberate with the two injuries to our backcourt. Right? So it just changed our dynamic from a roster standpoint. And when they got back in January, we lost our starting power forward for about 4 or 5 weeks. So we stayed there a little bit. But if you anybody watched the Valley tournament at all, we won 4 in 4 days. And if you watch those last 3 games, and I don't know if the guys had a chance to peek at it or not, but you're going to love it. Right? That thing is moving. Right? So you're right in what you read. There's a part of it that I like. Because once that game starts, like there's no hiding then. Right? Now, you can see these numbers. Once the game starts, there's nowhere to hide. Right? We know what we're going to do. Right? But there's nowhere to hide once that game starts. So great question.
Hi, Coach. ATV News, Erica Mejia. In executing that plan of high expectations, what is your delivery in executing those high expectations? Yeah, I think my experience as a head coach and doing this for a long time helps with that. So that it isn't something that I'm ever going to shy away from. And then working with the guys to understand that there is no expectation of being perfect. I think there's times when you have high expectations, that a feeling of, man, I've got to do everything right. We've got to be perfect. That's never going to be a part of it with me or with our guys or with our program. Right? And then the ability to handle those twists and turns. Right? Because you're able to get there if your day-to-day is really good. Right? Your habits and your routine are really good. You care about each other a lot. You're able to get to where those high expectations, where that bar is set. For me, it all comes back to the day-to-day and the relationships. Right? That we're doing it and we're working on those relationships, and we're working really hard at basketball, and we're doing it each and every day. Right? So I do. I think my experience in the games we've played that I've been a part of as a head coach has certainly helped us when it comes to tackling some of the high expectations.
All right, there's Ben Jacobson, new head coach at Utah State. We're going to take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.